All right, after years of testing all different kinds of travel bags, I think Grams28 is getting pretty close to cracking the code. Today, we are gonna do a full in-depth review of the Adventure Backpack and the Adventure Sling. Let's get right into it. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Desmond, and today is my favorite kind of video to make because we are gonna do a full deep dive on the new Grams28 Adventure Backpack and their Adventure Sling. So I'm gonna walk you through every inch of the bags, every pocket, every zipper, and then we are gonna pack this backpack for my upcoming trip to Hong Kong, Singapore, and Taiwan. So let's get started. First, I just wanna give you a full look at the backpack. That's where we're gonna start. But as you take a look at the design, Grams28 has been a sponsor and brand partner of this channel basically since I started it a few years ago. So I've been using their bags for several years on all different types of trips. And what's special about the new Adventure line that I want to call out, this is really their first foray into non-leather bags. So this is a combination of X-Packed and, you know, that classic Grams28 full grain leather, but this is definitely a more lightweight, rugged, and kind of adventurous design language than, say, their all leather backpacks, briefcases, and weekenders, which I also own and which I also use. And the same concept translates over to the sling bag, which is a combination of the X-Packed and the full grain leather, but again, designed to be a lot more lightweight and durable for all types of travel. For the backpack design and build quality, as you can see here, this is, I guess I would call this more like a rucksack style design, which I like, and again, fits very well with their Adventure Collection kind of moniker. You can see we have backpack straps here, a combination of that full grain leather, and then the rest of the bag, nylon, as well as their X-Packed X11 material, which I also like because I have other X-Pack bags, something like this, for example, where the X-Packed is actually a glossy, shiny finish, whereas on the Grams28, this is more of an X-Pack kind of sailcloth material. You're still gonna get that similar protection, but I enjoy the matte, almost cotton-like texture on this backpack. Now, from a sizing perspective, this thing can hold a lot, and of course, stay till the end of the video. We're gonna pack this up with everything I'm bringing on this trip, but I'll just give you a quick look from a kind of proportions perspective. I'm gonna throw this on right here. I'm about 5'10", 160 some odd pounds. This is what it looks like on my body. So for me, I think from a design perspective, this is really well proportioned. I think it looks good. As I mentioned, I prefer this kind of matte sailcloth, cotton-like finish. Just, again, makes it look a little bit more classic and a little bit less techy. And let's just do a detailed walkthrough of all the components on the outside of this bag before we start opening it up. So first of all, right here on the top, as I mentioned, a rucksack style design. We've got our kind of Grams28 classic frog clips. Opens up like this, easy access. We have the full grain leather here along the top, as well as the metal buckles on these frog clips. And then if we look at the front, we've got a full front pocket, zips right open. The other thing that I'll call out is YKK zippers and long leather zipper pulls. I really like this for any type of backpack design. One, because it just makes it really easy to zip and unzip your things. And two, because they're leather and not metal, you're not gonna hear a lot of like jingling and kind of jangling of all your different zippers. That is one of my biggest gripes with other backpacks. Again, I'll give you an example. You know, something like this, there's a lot of zippers, a lot of compartments on it. When you're walking around an airport, when you're doing anything, it just makes a ton of noise. I do not like that at all. Switching over to the side, you're gonna notice these kind of large bulbous pockets. They're pretty nice. Again, the lid opens very much like the main compartment. And then we've got a leather pull with a button closure here. The pocket is actually quite deep, and as I mentioned, I'll show you a bit more later, but just for demonstration purposes, this is an Owala water bottle. It's pretty big. This is like a 24 ounce. The only downside with a water bottle this large is it won't close, but there are smaller water bottles and other things that I'll actually put in this pocket a little bit later. Same thing on this side. Pop it right open. We've got plenty of space, really deep pockets, which I really like. And then let's switch over to the back here. Goes without saying, backpack straps. These are a combination of that X-Pact kind of sailcloth weave, as well as like a mesh finish with a memory foam like insert. So it's really nice. It's really well cushioned. It's not too soft. It's a good amount of firmness, especially with the amount of gear that I'm going to be carrying in this. I prefer a thick kind of memory foam firm strap just to distribute weight. But as we make our way down the strap, full grain leather accents here. We've got some nylon loops here for hooking carabiners. Usually I like to put wireless microphones here or other accessories that I can just clip on. And then coming down here, we have a removable chest strap. On the other side, this is kind of a nice addition. They've got a leather loop here for keys, or again, anything you want to just hook to your backpack strap. Same thing, more nylon hooks, and the other removable piece of this chest strap. Backpack strap adjustment, pretty simple stuff, nothing crazy. I like the little tie off with the full grain leather at the end of both the backpack straps. And then up here, you're gonna see a full grain leather handle. That's pretty classic on all the other Grams28 backpacks that I have that are in full leather. And then if we take a detailed look at the back, nylon memory foam, breathable kind of padding. Right here, we've got two large padded areas, and then luggage pass-through. I, again, love luggage pass-through. The only thing that's kind of missing from this that is on some of my other Grams28 bags is like a hidden passport zipper. Usually there's one on like the leather bag, there's a hidden passport pocket or some type of document pocket that they hide a zipper around. That's not here on this Adventure line. It's actually up here over on the hooded part. So if you look above this top handle, there's another zipper pull and you slide that open, and in here, I mean, you can see I've got a few passports, a wallet. Again, we're packing, getting ready for a trip, so I'm gonna be holding on to all of that, and that fits right up here in this pocket. So again, it's pretty nice because there is a lip too, so if it rains, all of this is protected. Rain, all that good stuff kind of slides right off and keeps your valuables safe. And then let's check the bottom. Like I said, we're gonna look at every inch of the bags. Down here, relatively flat bottom, which means, again, when you place it down, like I have here, it's just gonna stand on its own. That is critical for any type of backpack, any traveler who's looking for a must-have feature, a backpack that stands on its own. The bottom of this has some thin internal padding as well to protect gear from the inside, but there are more modular additions that I'm gonna show you. Next, let's go into the bag and look at all the different pockets and organization. So first of all, let's start with the front pocket. Left and right zippers, which is fantastic. If you look inside, a camel kind of brown light interior. That's a really important aspect for me when I'm packing. I like contrast. A lot of black gear, tossing it into a deep dark black bag, it's just hard to find things. High contrast light interior is my preferred. First, let's talk about the front flap. Right here we have a pocket, pretty solid. I can throw an iPhone in here, I can throw some earpods in there. And then inside, if you can see, 1, 2, 3 smaller pockets. Again, for demonstrations, earpods, they will fit into these little pockets really, really well. That's actually a pretty perfect place to put something like this. And then right above these 3 pockets, another zipper pocket right here. Great place if you want to, again, maybe put your passport, maybe put some documents, power banks. It's an additional zippered compartment inside this, so it's just added security if you want to put something important there. And then of course you get the entire space of this front pocket. On the left and right, I kind of already showed you these side pockets, but in here, I'm actually gonna be putting like little mini tripods. I've got some microphones, SD card readers, a bunch of gear that I just need quick access to and I'm not that too worried about. So that's kind of what this big outside pocket is for. And hopefully you can see how deep my hand is in here. It definitely does hold a lot. Let's take another look at this top zipper. Open it wide. I have 3 passports and a wallet in here, but again, Hopefully you can see it's a pretty solid amount of depth. So again, you can throw your iPhone in there, you can throw your passports in here. I like this pocket because if you have this on top of your suitcase and you're walking through an airport or you're going through customs, it's a very, very easy way to just quickly grab your documents, your boarding pass, whatever you need, and then zip it back up, especially as you're moving through security. So now let's get to the big compartment. First of all, little frog clips, which I like, folds right open. And the best part is actually maybe perfect for this video. There are two zippers on the left and right. You can zip those all the way down, which means now I have this backpack completely open, easy for packing, unpacking, or accessing my gear. And maybe one thing you're noticing is this camera cube from Grams28. This is a modular design, but I'm gonna take this out for now so I can walk you through the entire thing, and we'll talk about the camera cube later. So now you can see the entire interior of the bag. So let's start with the front flap. On this side, mesh pocket up here, earpods for reference, passport for reference. You can see it fits pretty well. I really like the top pocket for easy access items. So I just open up the lid of the backpack. I can quickly grab chargers, cables, power banks, usually AirPods or whatever it is. And then underneath it is another zip pocket, fully enclosed, so not mesh. And again, really quite deep. Passport for reference, fits really well in here with lots of additional space. Now onto the interior. There are two pockets on each side. So on this side, mesh zipper. Again, what I think about this design is just being able to quickly open up this lid and then very easily access important gear on the left, right, and front mesh pockets. And then underneath that is an open set of mesh pockets. On this side, there's a 2 compartment. So this is really good. I throw power banks in here. I throw USB-C like cables and chargers and dongles, SD card readers, just odd shaped small peripherals. And then the same thing on this side, which is significantly larger. I have like a universal adapter, for example, something relatively large that I can just toss in this mesh bag. And then we have this whole main area. We'll start up top, laptop compartment, very nice, padded, a zipper right here. Inside this zipper, I'll give you guys a closer look in a bit, is 1, 2, 3 tiny additional mesh pockets built in. So you've got additional organization. I keep all my cables in here. It's really nice. You open this up. I have perfectly rolled cables for all of my different devices, SD card readers, other things all in here. This not particularly useful, but it's a nice addition. The Grams28 full grain leather piece here is like a little credit card slot, or maybe you put a hotel key or something you want there. And then underneath this kind of padded Velcro-y material is another zipper. So this thing has so many zippers, it's pretty insane. And that right there is every inch of this bag. Obviously, this is a long video, but I appreciate you guys watching this entire thing. I love going in depth. But the other thing I want to show you is Grams28's camera cubes. These things are really well made. They're also pretty thick and robust. So here is one of their large size camera cubes. You saw that in the backpack earlier. It Velcros right into that bottom compartment, and I can Velcro it open. And inside, hopefully you can see here, we've got some dividers for my camera and my lenses that I'll be bringing over to Asia. They also sent over the smaller version. The system is modular, so you can just use a tinier camera cube if you've got a smaller camera, if you've got other things that you want to protect, maybe just a large lens, whatever it is, you can use something like this. And I do like that it closes up on top, because when I pack this later, I'll show you how valuable that is, because this becomes a shelf for additional smaller items that go on top of all my camera gear. Next, let's talk about the sling. I'm gonna move through this a little bit faster. Thankfully, it's a smaller bag, but as I mentioned, all X-Packed full leather grain material. If you look at the front, we've kind of got that hood-like opening. We've got a top handle that's all leather, nylon strap, and then on the back, we have a huge full-length zip compartment. And if we open up this flap, you're also gonna see 1, 2 exterior pockets, which I quite like. They're a corner zip style opening, which I guess helps so all your stuff doesn't fall out. And on these Hopefully I can give you a closer look later, but we've got 3 tiny little mesh pockets. These are perfect size for SD cards. And then in here, a couple of additional pockets, great for batteries. This thing is really well designed for camera carry, in all honesty. And then on this side, we have a much larger mesh pocket, great for an SSD, hard drive, other peripherals, more batteries. And then if we take a look inside, hopefully you can see the Velcro is built in, so you actually just need to use dividers. So you can turn this into a camera bag by adding additional camera dividers, so you can drop in your gear and your lenses. And over here, this will likely fit a iPad Pro. Let's see, this is my MacBook M4. Oh, it does fit. Okay, so this will fit a MacBook Pro M4 Max. That's cool to know. And then over here on this side, I'm gonna zip open another mesh pocket with tiny little compartments. Not a very deep pocket here. This is like, put your batteries, camera batteries, SD cards, whatever you want, easy access. And then no additional pockets on the side of the sling bag. The bottom, I don't see any hidden pockets for passport holders. Really, a lot of the features are in that backpack, but this big old mesh pocket back here is pretty cool. And I think the sling is a 14-liter capacity, which is great. Again, once you get into a city, you can throw this on over crossbody style. I can toss in all of my gear, all my things for a full walk around a new city, and just have everything with me without having to carry around a full travel backpack. So that's the full walkthrough of the bags. Let's actually go pack this thing together. All right, so let's go ahead and start packing this. We're gonna start doing this from the inside out. I want big compartments filled first, and then we'll go for all the smaller gear. So as I mentioned, I will be traveling with camera gear. So we've got the camera cube here, and it's pretty easy to get in. So we've got the camera cube installed right here, which is really nice. As I mentioned, it creates a shelf that makes it just easy to pack after you've got everything in here. For the camera itself, we have the new Nikon ZR, which I'll be doing a lot of video filming with. Got some Sony lenses. I'm also gonna bring an extra lens. This is a 35mm f1.4 G Master just for some night shooting. The one thing I'll say is because this bag is that X-Packed kind of lightweight material, it's not as padded as their classic all leather bags. But this camera cube adds a ton of protection and padding for your gear if you wanna keep it very safe. Next, we've got some mics. Actually, you know what? This might be pretty easy. I can still toss the mics in here. Some earpods. I'm gonna throw those up in the top container right here. Also, I've got my little travel Bluetooth dongle. You plug this into your airplane seat and it'll turn any kind of analog audio source into a Bluetooth audio source, which works with my earpods or my AirPod Maxes. ND filter, which I'm just going to toss into this pocket. I've got a power bank, which I want easy access to, so it's gonna go in this zipper pocket up here. And I've also got a DJI 360 camera, which I'll be bringing with me. That can actually also fit up in this large mesh pocket. In this pocket up here, like I mentioned, I've actually got all of my cables already really well nestled in here. So I've got a bunch of USB-C cables, SD card reader. I have another MagSafe power bank from Anker that I keep in here just as well. Then an M4 Max, MacBook Pro, 14 inches, fits right into that back compartment really well. And we'll just zip it up a bit to make it really easy to pack the rest of my gear on top of this shelf. A few things, I'll be bringing my Leica Q3. I like easy access to this camera just because I want to get some quick shots while I'm out. I can toss that in there. And then a pair of my large AirPod Maxes for the long 15-hour flight. Now for the front compartment, yes, I will use certain elements of these little pockets, but actually what I like to do, if you've seen my channel, I like to do a bag-in-bag type of packing. So this is actually a Grams28 pouch that I got, I don't know, years ago at this point, but I really like it. It's full grain leather. It's gotten so soft, weather sealed. But inside this pouch, when I open it up, is my action camera. So I have a Insta360 Go Ultra. I've got the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 and all of the little accessories and charging cables and tiny little mics that go with something like this. I keep it all in this little pouch. And then I zip this pouch up and I shove this pouch into this front pocket right here. All of that fits in here. So of course I can use some of those smaller pockets to put SD cards and other things, but if I'm going somewhere, I just want to open this, grab my pouch of action cameras and get shooting when I need to. And then switching over to this pocket, same thing. I can just dump everything into this pouch, but that's not how I pack. I've got another tiny little pouch here. Inside this pouch, more little tech peripherals. I've got a tiny portable light. I've got batteries for that 360 camera. I've got a little action camera tripod. Inside here, I've got batteries for my Nikon. And then I just zip all of that stuff up and it fits right into this pouch, which is great. And the nice thing is the cutoff is here, so I can still throw some gear on top that I want easy access to. On this side, like I mentioned, you can fit a water bottle if you want to. What I have in here is a mini tripod, SD card reader, and a tiny little power plug. I keep this outside pocket mostly empty just for as I'm walking around the city or if I'm traveling, if I pick up anything tiny, I can just throw it in this mostly empty pocket right here on the outside. And it buttons up perfectly. Finally, top pocket. Like I mentioned, I will take my phone out, but I will put in my passport and my wallet along with the other passport and wallets for travel day. So they stay in here, nice and safe, sealed, and that is everything in my Grams28 Adventure Backpack. All right, so hopefully you guys like that. This is exactly what I'm bringing on my trip to Hong Kong, all in my Grams28 backpack. I'm just gonna throw it on just to get a good gauge of the weight here. But overall, I mean, this is why I like these thick memory foam straps. There's a lot of gear in here, as you can see. I'm actually gonna be heading over to Hong Kong to check out the new flagship store for Grams28 in the K11, which is pretty exciting. I've only ever gotten everything from online, so it's kind of cool to see it in store. But the backpack itself is great, and hopefully you guys can see here, size reference, even full. I think it holds its shape relatively well. Proportionally, I feel perfectly fine, and if I need to bear more weight, I can use the chest strap. Anyways, we'll continue to do more testing. I'll probably drop another video at some point. But if you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more videos just like this. I will catch you all in the next one.